Immediately after graduating from McGill, what did you do?
So you may or may not know this, but Janine's husband is also a professor at UQAM. So it's about 3 blocks down the road. And because I was thinking of going into research, if you want to get a research level job in electrochemistry in Quebec, probably your best bet is doing battery research, if we're being honest, because Hydro-Quebec is right there. And because although I did my PhD in electrochemistry, it really wasn't focused on batteries. And Steen Skogo, who's the professor at UQAM, is specialized in batteries. I wanted to kind of broaden my horizons and go learn more about the battery side of electrochemistry. And then I started a post. So I graduated in July, and then I started a postdoc in August with Steen at UQAM. About 3.5 months into my postdoc, I got a call from somebody saying, hey, there's somebody looking for someone to do sales. Would you be interested? And my first answer, like probably most graduate students, was no. But I went for an interview and I thought about it. And so in the end, I ended up accepting the position in October, but I negotiated to kind of do almost a year for my postdoc. So I actually officially started my job only in March, even though I got hired in October.
What do you miss most about the lab environment since you're no longer working in a wet lab anyway?
Well, especially right now with COVID, it's actually just being able to discuss my research with my colleagues. I think that during my PhD, I actually had a really good group. We all started, so I don't know if you guys know this, but when I was one of Janine's first students when she came to McGill. So we started off as 4 students with Janine, a brand new lab. And we kind of all came up together. So it was really like a big family for us. So being able to kind of sit in the lab sometimes for an hour or two, just discussing general research, that was actually something that's really fun to do. And I don't really get to do that much anymore, even though I have colleagues. When you're on the sales side, you usually have kind of your own territory. So you don't go to an office every day.
What unexpected hurdles do you run into?
I would say we have about 150 different instruments that we sell. And that means that you have to have some expertise in about 150 different instruments or let's say, 50 different techniques. So that's actually, when I started, I think that was the overwhelming part. You're in grad school, you probably use 5, 10 techniques, and then suddenly you're exposed to things that you've never seen before. And you have to be able to discuss them intelligently with professors, because like it or not, professors are the ones that you're talking to most of the time, and they're usually experts in your field. So when you're starting, it is a pretty big challenge in terms of learning everything. But I'm getting to a point now, especially 3 years in, where I've seen many things, and I'm starting to understand the technology much better. So it just makes it more fun when you're going in to talk to somebody. And I think the coolest part of our role is, like I said, in the US, you usually have a sales guy and you have an application specialist. In Canada, my role with my company is really kind of a combination of both. So there's the sales aspect, yes, but there's being able to go into professor's office, talk about their research, what are they doing, and understanding what they're doing, and then seeing, is there something that you have that can maybe help them advance their research? So that's actually the most fun part, I guess, about my job, going out and meeting people and talking to people about what they do.
How has your graduate school experience helped you at your current profession?
One of the things that I got a great opportunity to do with Janine is travel a lot to conferences. And I know that as a grad student, your main goal when you're going to the exhibition room is kind of just grabbing one of those free pens or free mugs, whatever it is. And hey, I'll tell you this honestly, from the sales side, we really don't care. Take all the pens you want. It really doesn't bother us. But part of that is also kind of discussing with the applications guys and just seeing what the technology can do. One thing that I think everybody's kind of pushing a lot on nowadays is networking. And I know that's a really easy thing to say, and it's not usually an easy thing to do, but it is something that's important. So if I had a suggestion, for example, is, you go to a conference, you meet somebody, the first thing you should do when you go back to your office or whatever it is add that person on LinkedIn, because you never know what that connection is going to be able to do for you later, or how you're going to be able to help him. That's actually somewhat how I got hired as well. In terms of grad school, one of the things, touching on conferences as well, is giving presentations. Being able to be comfortable giving a presentation. I mean, it's great to be able to do great research, but if you can't explain your research to anybody, it's not going to be as useful and it's not going to go as far. So I think that's actually a really important component that I think also we're starting to focus on a little bit more. And then, I know this sounds kind of cheesy, but make good friends and make good colleagues. Really you know, your colleagues and people around you are the ones who are going to be help you move forward. If I'm giving you an example for how I got this job, actually, is when I went to a conference, I met the head of at the time it was CSAC, but now it's CQMF. And I got to know him very well. And that's actually how I got the job, because my boss knew him and said, hey, I'm looking for somebody. And he recommended me. So, you know, they say that you always get a job by recommendations, but this is an exact example. That's exactly how I got my job. So being able to meet people and network is actually really important.
Sure. Yeah. So thank you so much for your time and your experience.
Absolutely.